Welcome back to Cowboys fans. We finally have some real movement following the conclusion of the Dallas Cowboys mandatory minicamp. It didn't take long for the front office to make a few personnel decisions. And we've got a pair of signings and a pair of releases to break down. It's not huge headline-grabbing news, but these are the kinds of roster tweaks that quietly shape the bottom of the depth chart and potentially offer value come training camp. Unfortunately for the players who were released, this is the harsh business side of the NFL. But for the guys coming in, namely defensive tackle Perrion Winfrey and cornerback Robert Rochelle, this is a fresh opportunity to carve out a role on one of the most watched teams in football. We'll dig into both of these players and explain what kind of impact, if any, they might make. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and stay locked in. This is the kind of analysis you won't get anywhere else. So here's the quick news from Cowboys insider Nick Harris. The team has waived defensive tackle Justin Rogers and cornerback Luke Barku. In their place, they've added two new faces, Perrion Winfrey, a 2022 fourth-round pick, who most recently played in the UFL, and Robert Rochelle, another fourth-round pick, this time from 2021, who spent 2024 with the Green Bay Packers. Now, I know a lot of you are already wondering, are these just camp bodies? Are these real signings that matter? The answer is a bit of both, but I'll say this. One of these guys could genuinely stick and even contribute on Sundays, and it might not be in the way you expect. Let's start with Perrion Winfrey. This guy is a former Oklahoma Sooner and was once viewed as a high-upside interior disruptor with violent hands and explosive get-off. At 6'4", pushing 300 pounds, with long arms and a wide frame, Winfrey fits the mold of the attacking-style defensive tackles that new defensive coordinator Mike Zimmer likes to use, guys who shoot gaps, create backfield chaos, and disrupt plays before they start. This is not your nose tackle. He's not here to eat blocks or play two-gap technique. He's here to knife into the backfield, cause penetration, and force negative plays. That said, his NFL journey has been rocky. He flashed early in Cleveland, but reportedly fell out of favor due to off-the-field concerns ranging from locker room maturity to discipline issues. It wasn't talent that got him cut. It was temperament, and that's what makes this a classic Cowboy-style reclamation signing, high upside, low risk. During his time in the UFL this past spring, Winfrey stood out, earning all league honors despite limited snaps. He finished with 29 tackles and a sack, showing improved maturity and an on-field production. Clearly, he's done enough to convince Dallas to give him another shot at the NFL level. And when you look at the Cowboys' defensive tackle room, there's a very real opportunity here. Beyond Osa Odighizuwa and first-rounder Maisie Smith, there's not a whole lot of proven talent. Solomon Thomas was added for veteran depth, and UDFA rookies like Justin Toy and Tomiwa King Boateng are more developmental at this point. Even a name like Ernest Brown-Ive feels more like camp competition than a roster lock. If Winfrey can stay focused and earn the trust of the coaching staff, there's a path for him to be one of the top 4 rotational defensive tackles by week 1. And here's where we see the Cowboys' strategy shift under Mike Zimmer. Cutting Justin Rogers in favor of Winfrey tells you a lot. Rogers was a massive body, listed at nearly 350 pounds, clearly built for that one-tech or zero-tech role. In the Dan Quinn era, the Cowboys occasionally flirted with those types to help plug gaps and let linebackers roam free. But Zimmer's system relies more on attacking fronts, where size takes a backseat to explosiveness and technique. Releasing Rogers and bringing in someone with Winfrey's profile speaks directly to that philosophy. It's a calculated switch from gap-occupying bulk to aggressive gap-shooting disruption. And if Winfrey can keep his head on straight and buy into the culture that Dallas is trying to build, this could be one of those sneaky good late offseason moves that pays off. Now let's pivot to the other signing, Robert Rochelle. This one's more about special teams, plain and simple. While he's listed as a cornerback, don't expect Rochelle to be getting meaningful defensive snaps unless there's an injury crisis. What he does bring is standout ability as a gunner, one of those often overlooked roles that makes a real difference in field position. Rochelle was a core special teams contributor in Green Bay last year, consistently downing punts inside the 5 and preventing touchbacks with heads-up hustle plays. He's the type of guy you want flying down the sideline on punt coverage, making sure the ball doesn't sneak into the end zone. Think of him as a direct replacement for someone like Amani Oruwariye, who filled a similar role last year for Dallas. So while Rochelle might not be someone fans talk about much, don't underestimate the value he brings on game day in those hidden yardage situations. As for the players released, let's briefly acknowledge them. Justin Rogers, as mentioned earlier, is a big, space-eating DT who never really got a chance to flash in Dallas. His body type actually made him one of the rare true one techs on the roster, so it is a bit surprising that the Cowboys let him go, especially considering how little true size they currently have on the line. Still, this move clearly signals a philosophical shift. Rodgers was likely viewed as a poor fit for Zimmer's new scheme, and instead of forcing the issue, the team chose to move on quickly. There's also a good chance Rodgers finds another landing spot, soon maybe even back in Cincinnati, where he's had prior stints. And then there's Luke Barku. Let's be real, Barku was a deep roster guy, a camp body at best. He never really factored into the rotation and didn't get many meaningful reps. This release isn't a surprise and probably won't be his last stop, but it's just the nature of the business when the depth chart is this crowded. So, in summary, 2 additions, 2 exits. One guy in Winfrey, who's a legitimate wild card with talent and upside, if he can stay locked in, and another in Rochelle, who brings consistency and value on special teams. It's not a blockbuster roster shakeup, but these are the kind of incremental changes that show the Cowboys are still looking for ways to fine-tune this roster heading into training camp. They still need another proven DT, in my opinion, someone with experience and some skins on the wall, but bringing in a high upside player like Winfrey now, before pads go on, is a smart gamble. If he pans out, it's a steal. If not, you cut bait before week 1. Either way, this is what building a deep, competitive 90-man offseason roster looks like. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. Be sure to subscribe if you want more Dallas Cowboys updates, breakdowns, and film reviews throughout the offseason and into the 2025 season. You know I'll be here every step of the way, giving you the real. Don't call me, don't text me, don't page me unless it's about them Cowboys. Because listen, I'm still them boys.